Hello and welcome to Universal Media Driving, a chronological look at every PSP racing game. Racing games are some of my earliest gaming memories. Though my first game was Sonic 2, very early on I played a lot of Jeff Crammond's Formula 1 Grand Prix on a crappy DOS machine. From there, we traded in the Mega Drive for a PlayStation with a copy of Need for Speed 1, and then I had fond memories of putting my name down for an early rental of Gran Turismo when that came out. I'm not particularly good at racing or driving games, not at all actually, but I am very fond of them regardless. Likewise, the PSP is probably my favourite handheld console. I can't even properly quantify that, I just think it had such a weird library, kinda came out around the right time in my life to stand out. And it had a lot of racing games as it turns out. Hell, the European launch had 5 of its 18 games as racing games, which is over a quarter of them. So I want to take a look at all of them, in order, and there's only one place we can start.
Ridge Racer!
Though before we do, I wanted a note on my capture setup a little bit. I'm running a PSP Go through an OSSC, which I feel gives the best approximation of how games were on actual hardware, without just pointing a camera at a PSP 1000. No overclocking, no resolution or texture filtering changes, just as close to original presentation as I can get. Unfortunately, those days have passed, but there was a time where a new console by Sony meant a new Ridge Racer, and just like Ridge Racer 1 being one of the premier launch titles for the PS1, if you got a PSP at launch, you were probably playing either Ridge Racer or Lumines, both of which showcase the PSP's impressive 3D and 2D qualities respectively. Ridge Racer, or Ridge Racers in Japan, is a greatest hits or remix album kinda game, featuring tracks and cars from Ridge Racer, Rave Racer, Ridge Racer Revolution, Rage Racer, and Type 4. Though despite the logo showing up in the menu, as far as I can tell there's only a music remix from Ridge Racer 5 in the game. As far as the game goes, well, it's Ridge Racer. You pick a car, you pick a track, you go out there and you drift around corners very, very fast. Ridge Racer PSP actually brings one of the biggest changes to the game in the entire series, which is the addition of the boost or nitrous system. As you drift around corners, you build up these 3 stocks of nitrous. The faster you go around the corners, the more it builds up. When you hit the button, you get a huge burst of speed. Naturally, they're best used in the straightaways where you don't have to worry about braking the corner or anything like that. And I think in general they're pretty well balanced. They don't necessarily make or break a race, but they certainly can give you a, well, boost, and may just be the clinch that you need to win. Also, they're pretty fun to use downhill, you get a real sense of speed from it. And in general, that sense of speed carries across the entire game. The frame rate is really solid, barely ever dipping under 60. And sadly, that will not be something that is common to the rest of the games on the system. The tracks look pretty great too, there's a lot of detail and variance between each corner. And while the cars tend to be a bit maybe low poly and definitely have low texture resolution, I find that I tend to play Ridge Racer in the bumper cam anyway. Though if you do play with the third-person camera, you can notice that they managed to get a fairly fast reflection effect going on the body of the car. Again, it's low resolution, but everything you can see is there, and given that you're meant to be viewing it on a sub 4-inch screen running at 480 by 272, it works pretty well. Thankfully, the audio department is no slouch either, and the first track in the first event, Disco Ball, is kind of the PSP song in my eyes. The engine sounds, while not particularly varied, all sound pretty good. No complaints here.
Today's race is taking place here at Seaside Route 765. Is your machine ready to go? The race is about to begin. 3, 2, 1, go! 3 laps to go.
Content-wise, Ridge Racer challenges you going through a series of events, usually made up of 3 or more races in various classes of cars. Clearing them unlocks more cars in different classes, and of course harder events. There's not exactly a lot of structure to it, but designed as a portable game that you can pick up for 10 minutes, bang out a couple of races and put it to sleep, I think it works pretty well. That being said, there's not a lot of reason to come back to Ridge Racer 1 today, unless you're looking at it as a time capsule of the PSP launch period, because it got a sequel not too long after that really completely supplants the game. Unless you're in America, it didn't come out there. But we'll worry about that another time.